Hello again. I think that the viewers of this channel are fairly resilient people on the whole and unlikely to be shocked by what I am about to reveal. This is the fact that every single day of the year, racially motivated assaults, both verbal and physical, take place involving teenagers in this country. This conduct is so common as to be hardly worth remarking upon. I do not say that this is a desirable state of affairs, but it does happen to be the way that things are. Sometimes it is Pakistani school pupils bullying an Indian Hindu. At others, black kids of Caribbean origin picking on and assaulting Asian or white teenagers. And of course, white kids do the same thing sometimes to black youngsters. Sometimes these incidents erupt from racist language being used in earshot of somebody who takes it amiss. The nearest tube station to my home in Essex is Debden on the Central Line, and it sees quite a lot of this kind of thing, much of it involving the nearby college at which I taught. It's so common there among college students and school children that nobody takes much notice. In the description to this video, I give a link to a scene filmed there at Debden Station. It started when a group of loud black girls were entering the station from the college. One of them remarked loudly that she hated white Essex people, which could be construed as being, racist language. That's the expression I was looking for. A white Essex person took exception to this statement, and the situation rapidly escalated into a physical confrontation, in which I am sorry to say racist language was freely used on both sides. I was indirectly involved in the aftermath of this because I worked at the college where a couple of those involved attended. This was a racially motivated attack among teenagers, which involved black youngsters racially abusing and assaulting a white victim who jumped onto the railway tracks to escape. It did not make the newspapers. As I say, I'll give you a link to this in the description to this video. Click on the link and you can watch it. It's not particularly an unusual sight, as I say, at Debden Station when the college kids are passing through. The other day, there was a supposedly racially motivated attack on a black teenage girl outside a school in Ashford. I give a link to the BBC report on the case, it also in the description to this video. This was interesting for a number of reasons. Firstly, it was not all that much when considered in the light of such things which do happen frequently. I mean, outside at the college where I worked, there was actually a stabbing. A black guy was stabbed by two Indian boys. So in the incident at Ashford, nothing as dramatic as that happened. It was hair pulling, punching and so on. What was notable, for those of you who have seen the video of the incident, which is freely circulating on Twitter, is the ethnicity of the middle-aged woman and her offspring who were involved in the scrap. True, they are white and the victim was black, but looking at them, both their appearance and also the accent of the woman involved suggests strongly to me that these are Irish tinkers. I have no idea if the affair was motivated racially, but it may just be that this is a very rough family who are in the habit of scrapping with other people on a regular basis, whatever their skin colour. What I find very odd is that this is all now shaping up to be a huge affair along the lines of the Stephen Lawrence business. MPs are making statements about it, and it seems that the only reason that this piece of disorder, out of all the others which very likely took place in and around schools across the length and breadth of the country that day, is that the victim was black and the people involved in the attack white. Now, I could easily relate anecdotes where a white teenager has been assaulted in exactly the same fashion, and nobody has batted an eyelid, in cases where the aggressors were of African or Caribbean origin. I could also tell you about cases where a gang of Muslim kids have attacked and beaten up a youth in Birmingham because he happened to be an Indian Hindu. These are also cases of racially motivated assaults on teenagers, and yet they do not gain traction, and the BBC and newspapers do not talk of them in hushed and shocked tones. No, this is reserved for cases where the victim is black, and only for incidents where the attackers are white. See also how swiftly coachloads of black people arrive from London to inflame the situation. Yes, it's the Black Lives Matter people exploiting the situation for their own reasons. In the thumbnail to this video, you will see black people wearing paramilitary uniforms outside the school, uniforms which signify their adherence to a political group, in flagrant defiance of the 1936 Public Order Act. Do you think the police will warn them about this? I doubt it. My question is a simple one. I'm sure that most viewers will be aware that this kind of thing, scraps and disorder among children and teenagers, take place quite often, and that in most such cases it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. What happened, for instance, to trigger off the business in Ashford? Did a family of tinkers simply turn up at the school and pick on one child at random because she happened to be black? One suspects that there is something of a backstory to all this. What I would like to know is why it is always and only incidents where black people are the victims which are taken up by the newspaper and made much of. We know very well that when Hindus or white Christians are victims, and such cases occur all too often, that nobody would be at all interested. It is merely because the central character here is black and the supposed aggressors are white that this whole thing is of interest to the media.